You've probably heard of the trolley problem, or trolley problems. They're a series of thought experiments designed to question people on their personal ethics regarding human life, utilitarianism, and how much action is valued compared to inaction, or whether letting someone die or some people die is different to having an active role in killing one or more people ethically. In surveys, it shows that the vast majority of people would rather kill one person than to let 5 people die through inaction. And that was the answer that I would have given up until a few weeks ago when I was watching an Ask Me Anything video by the YouTuber Alfvoid. And she said, she's a philosophy student, or graduate even now, I think, and she said that she wouldn't pull the lever to kill one person and let the other 5 people live. She said that, well, she gave her own reasons for that, and you can watch that video if you like, but it just got me thinking about the problem again through a kind of new lens, a new way of thinking about it. And then after that I watched Mission Impossible, the new Mission Impossible film called Fallout, it was pretty good, pretty enjoyable action film. I'm not here to really discuss the film, but the philosophical stakes of the film are based on utilitarianism versus, I don't know what you'd call the opposite, like individualism, or I don't know. The main character, Ethan Hunt, he's praised by his friends and by his employer for not allowing innocent people to die in the service of saving many other people, which is the opposite of the trolley problem, right? Because he's being selfish in making himself, alleviating himself of guilt by not letting his friends die, the people he knows personally, and by letting these sort of police officers and other innocent civilians die, even if it risks millions of others dying. On the surface of it, you might think, well, in a movie, that's cool, like, that's alright because he's the hero and because the whole narrative is written around his actions and this idea, so you can just tweak the events to match this philosophy so that it always works out for him. Like, he doesn't have to decide between saving his friends and saving the world because he gets to do both because it's a fantasy. But still, I do wonder if his philosophy, Ethan Hunt, if his philosophy is really more suitable, whether that is superior to this utilitarianism. Maybe not if you actually have the world at stake, but for everyday life, it might serve you better to not be willing to commit murder or not be willing to let injustices happen because you believe that it could be doing some greater good. There's sort of the ends justifies the means thinking. It often results in actions that a lot of people find immoral, even though they're in service of what they say is a greater good. In the real world, it's messy, right? We never really know if our actions are going to do good in the world or not. We can guess and we can make predictions, but it's not like the trolley problem where we know 5 people will die and we know that changing the tracks will definitely save them. And that's not my criticism of thought experiments. That's just me thinking, right? I'm just thinking of real world ethics. I play these strategic video games. Right now I'm playing one called Enter the Breach, where everything it's like chess in the sense that you have perfect information about what will happen if you act in a certain way. So you have to figure out, where to move and who to attack in order to stop these alien bugs from attacking cities. And sometimes I need to attack the city itself in order to protect a different city or a bigger city, or to prevent extra damage happening to that city. I'll actually directly bomb the city I'm protecting, or just a city to protect a different city, in order to push a bug away and change where it's standing, or to kill that bug. That's just how the bomb mechanic works. But when I play the game, I don't consider damage done by the bugs to be any different to damage done by my bombs, because I have perfect information, and I know that if I bomb this city, I can save more people. And when a city gets damaged, it comes up with a casualty rate. It tells you how many people died because of that attack. But even that doesn't really make me think differently about doing damage to a city to prevent more damage, because I know that I'm saving people, and I know that that is the definite outcome. There's this other game that I played, which I liked very much, called XCOM, and also the sequel XCOM 2, where you don't know what outcomes your actions will have, because every time you shoot your gun, or every time a gun is shot at one of your characters, there's a percentage chance that it's going to hit or miss or do critical damage and do massive damage to their health. You really don't know the consequences of your actions, and you have to think very carefully about what risks you are willing to take in order to gain victory. Rather than sacrificing one of my soldiers to save the rest of the soldiers, I can't actually make that decision, because nothing is certain. If I put one of my soldiers in danger in order to do more damage to an enemy, in order to kill it, to prevent future damage, that might not even work, because I could get him really close, and because the closer I am, the more chance I have of hitting, obviously. But I could get him really close, and he might still miss. There's always a chance of missing. Almost always, actually. I think life is a little bit more like XCOM, and of course, even XCOM is extremely simplified to the point where you can make better predictions, but real tactical generals and the people who make decisions on the battlefield don't have as much information as I have in XCOM, and they have to make decisions much quicker. I expect what they do is probably they have to minimize the number of casualties, they have to maximize damage done to the enemy, or whatever, they've got their objective, and they have to take risks, right? They have to put some people in danger to protect the rest of them, to prevent future damage. They probably have to put some people at risk, and they don't even know if that's going to work. I mean, the whole act of having an army and going to war, or defending your own country if it's being invaded, is an act of utilitarianism, because you're sending in these strong, prepared people, I hope, to defend the rest. You're putting some people in danger in order to prevent what you expect will be much worse danger that will occur to the rest of the country, or to a small part of the country. And sometimes the stakes aren't even as simple as a death toll, where you can just compare the number of people who die on the battlefield compared to the number of people who would have died had the battle not taken place, had surrender taken place. It's not as simple as just adding up the numbers, because of course we don't know what would have been, but also there's an ideological battle taking place. If two countries are at war, if one country is invading another, and this country is defending itself against being invaded, they are preferring to be, they'd rather give up these soldiers, or these men who volunteer, they'd rather lose some casualties of war than to have this amorphous negative benefit of being ruled by another country, which doesn't even have a specific negative cost associated with it, right? There's just this idea of patriotism and sovereignty that people are willing to die for. Maybe there's a completely different system of government, communism versus capitalism or individualism. Of course, in the case of communism, you can say that there's a large death toll associated with that, but even in that case, you don't know for sure how many people are going to die as a result of being invaded by a communist country. I just think it's an interesting kind of thought experiment, because if you set up the trolley problem so that you have the trolley heading towards 5 people on the train tracks, and then on the alternate tracks you can pull the lever to divert the trolley to this other rail where something really bad will happen, like communism will win over capitalism, or like something ideological, right? Something that it can't be defined by a death toll specifically. I mean, what if that track that you're diverting from has 1 million people on it? Is it worth sacrificing 1 million people to stop the advance of communism? Or in the case of World War II, is it worth dropping the 2 atomic bombs on Japan in civilian cities in order to stop the advancement of Nazi Germany and their allies? There's a film by Studio Ghibli called The Grave of the Fireflies that's about a boy and his sister surviving after the bomb has gone off. I can't remember if they're in Nagasaki or Hiroshima, but they don't have a great time, obviously. It's a very sad film, and I think I've only seen it twice, because even though it's really good, it's just, it'll ruin your day watching it. And I don't want to see any comments about how Japan was trying to surrender, or how maybe the Nazis should have won. I'm not here to have a historical conversation with you in the comment section. I'm using it as an example. But that film, it's heartbreaking, and I don't know about other people, but I get the sense when watching the film that it's the continued suffering of these children that is so hard to bear. If they just died in the bomb, it feels like it would have been better for them. Right, if they just died, if they just joined the ranks of dead bodies that you see at the start of the film, which is a very shocking image, by the way, still feels like that image was easier to handle than to see these children struggling in the post-bomb city. And it reminds me of that other thought experiment, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, which is a short story by Ursula Le Guin. It's about a utopic city, or a country or something, some civilization where everything is absolutely wonderful, and it doesn't matter what you picture that wonderful to be. It can be whatever you like. It's just the best civilization you can possibly imagine, where everybody's happiness is maximized, but it only exists that way because of the suffering of one innocent child who is continually tortured. And all of the citizens of this city, this place, know about the child, and they can't do anything about it. They can't stop the child from being tortured. All they can do is decide to leave or stay in Omelas. It's the suffering of the child, the continual torture of this child. It's so much harder to bear than if it was just a child who was sacrificed. A child who just died as a result, and then the city was marvellous because of this dead child. That's a sort of different thought experiment. It seems that the continued suffering, and completely undeserved suffering, it seems worse than death, and I can't tell you why or how to quantify that, obviously. I mean, that's kind of my point, is that you can't add up death tolls in ethical problems and say that you've solved that ethics, because you can't say that you've solved an ethical problem just by adding up how many people died. I mean, it's not a bad metric, but it's lacking, because suffering can be very bad, and living in poverty as well. I guess if I had to summarize what I'm trying to say in this video, it would be to say that the trolley problem is an interesting thought experiment, and so is The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas, but ultimately the ethical decisions that we make in our lives are really complicated, and we can't come to really solid answers all the time. And when presented with a trolley kind of problem in real life, it may not be the best thing just to kill someone hoping that it would save some other people. I think there's a certain amount of arrogance associated with that kind of worldview, where you feel that you know for sure that more people will be saved by this. You're putting yourself in the place of ultimate authority, where you are willing to kill this innocent person for the sake of what you believe to be a better world to come out as a result. To sacrifice yourself is one thing, obviously. To give your own life, there's obviously ethics that are associated with that as well. I'm not saying that's a perfectly ethical decision in every single situation, there are negative consequences associated with suicide or self-sacrifice, but to kill another person is something completely different entirely. I'm sorry I couldn't come to any solid conclusions really in that rant, but I've hoped that I've helped you maybe think about some things in a way you haven't seen before. Thank you very much for watching, and please leave your comments below. I am interested to see what all of you have to say about this. I have an idea for my next video, so I hope to bring that to you soon. So have a good one, and I'll see you around.
I don't want to smile. Smile is the can keep me from me. Maybe not because I was sad, but this one's true. I don't want to smile. Smile is the can keep me from me. Maybe not because I was sad, but this one's true. Smile is the guy thinks it's fine. I'm so loud as it was there. Can you tell what it is yet?
Yeah. It's a giant time-traveling portal.